Right now, the Sandra Maas civil lawsuit against local TV station KUSI is in the hands of the jury. Good afternoon. Welcome to The Four. I'm Heather Myers.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. Jurors heard closing arguments just hours ago. CBS 8's Shannon Handy was inside the courtroom all day. She's live downtown right now. Shannon.
Yeah, Carlo and Heather, the courtroom was so crowded today that not only was every seat filled, but the judge actually allowed people to both stand up and sit on the floor, which is incredibly uncommon. Now, both Sandra Maas and KUSI had a number of supporters there apiece. The first person to speak for these closing arguments was Maas's attorney. Not only did he go over all the evidence that's been presented over the past several weeks, but he also said that this case is relevant to employees everywhere.
We are already familiar with phrases like gender discrimination, equal pay, retaliation, because we hear about those things in headlines. We read about them in the newspapers. There are movies about them. But what we haven't seen, what goes unsaid in the headlines, is just how deeply rooted those problems are in the corporations in this country and in this corporation.
Sandra Maas is seeking $10 million in damages. She's accusing KUSI of gender and age discrimination as well as violating the state's Equal Pay Act, saying her contract wasn't renewed in 2019 after voicing her concerns over pay inequities between herself and her co-anchor Alan Denton. Now, during the trial, it was revealed at one point Maas was making $90,000 less than Denton, though the differential did become less later on in her career. But KUSI says Denton had more experience and worked more hours than Maas, which were among the reasons why he was paid more. They talked about that during their closing arguments. They also allege Maas was a disgruntled employee, using a clip showing a comment she made off camera while shooting a promo.
I hate this place.
The law requires equal pay for equal work when there is equal merit. Here, there was not equal merit. Alan Denton was the more experienced anchor. He was the more highly decorated anchor. He was the more accomplished journalist. He was the more talented anchor in the judgment of KUSI's news director.
And as for that video clip you saw, Maas's attorney says that KUSI's attorneys are simply cherry-picking things to show the jury. He describes Sandra Maas as hardworking, as well-respected within the market, and says that even a lot of the witnesses who took the stand over the last several weeks said the same thing about her. Now, the jury just began deliberating late this afternoon, and those deliberations are expected to continue into tomorrow. Heather and Carlo?
Yeah, Shannon, any indication how long the jury might be deliberating for?
That was a big question mark amongst people in the courtroom today, but you have to keep in mind this case has been going on for nearly a month. There have been some delays here and there, and they have a lot of things to go over. This is not a simple case. It's very complicated with very complicated state laws. So there is an indication this could take some time. However, you do get a sense that the judge really wants to get to that verdict. Today, he gave time limits for the closing arguments, and he also would not allow anyone to take a lunch break until those closing arguments were finished, which again is also very uncommon. So I think everyone is just ready to hear what the verdict is in this case and move on.
Yeah, not a simple case at all. A lot of work in front of those jurors. Shannon Handy reporting for us. Thanks, Shannon.